Greetings and peace. I hope you and yours are doing well today, wherever you might be listening to this from. Now, the title of this video is The Teachings of Baba Guru Nanak and its Similarity with Freemasonry. Now, I'm very fond of the Sikh religion and the teachings of the Guru, and I wanted to dedicate this video to all the Sikh Masonic brothers that are out there in the world, including a past Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of India. And I also wanted to put this out there because I have not seen anything out there that anybody has any education program in terms of Sikhism and Freemasonry. So I wanted to break the ice in that regard, and also to teach people about this beautiful faith. As a Muslim myself, I have seen Sikh brothers and sisters be targets of hate crimes throughout these last, I guess, 15-20 years, and people mistake them for Muslims. So I believe I, as a Muslim brother, and my mentality as a Freemason, which respects and loves people of all backgrounds, owes it to them to teach people about their beautiful faith and what they're capable of. The Sikh faith was started by Baba Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and he's the founder of the Sikh religion. And the word Sikh in Punjabi, it means to teach. So Sikhi, so that means you learn something, or to teach, or to learn, or to endow somebody with something. He was a great spiritual master that pushed for unity for all, love for all mankind, uplifting fallen humanity, and respecting everyone and everything, and to live a life in service to others, all which are similar with what Freemasonry teaches, and why we see so many Sikh brothers that are in the craft be so successful at what they do, because it's natural for them, the lifestyle. Now, Baba Guru Nanak was born on April 15, 1469, in the Pakistan area of Kartarpur, because at that time the Punjab area, it was one entity. So after 1947, that's when it had split into two, where the eastern half went to India and the western half went to Pakistan. So he's taught, and he built a community, and he traveled far and near to teach humanity what it means to love one another. And he did that until the 15th century, till his passing. And he went to Mecca, Medina, he went to Baghdad, he went to all these other places in the world to teach that message of unity, hope, and peace. And he also built the first Gurdwara temple in Kartarpur, Pakistan, which I had the privilege of going to recently. And what Baba Guru Nanak teaches is that nobody's above you and beneath you. In terms of Masonic teachings, we're all on the level. We might have a title or a number next to our name, but that still does not make any difference in terms of us not servicing humanity. That actually should make you serve humanity more, because you have more responsibility on you. And that's what he taught in his aesthetic lifestyle, in what he taught to his followers about leaving a better world behind, and not getting caught up in those traps where we get disunited by certain things, by the agents of chaos that want to cause disunity. So this is a leader that I believe that we should all look up to in our spiritual path of learning and adapting from each religion. Baba Guru Nanak was indeed a traveling man, as you can see with his all the traveling that he did to spread the messages of love, unity, brotherhood, and peace, as he spared no direction, going north, south, east, west. And he traveled with his companion Bhai Mardana to Mecca, Medina, to all these different places for a period of 24 years. And he actually was almost at the level of Ibn Battuta of Morocco, who was also a traveler, and he explored the world. And he also teaches you, and what I can relate to what Baba Guru Nanak teaches us with his travels, is that in order for your horizons to expand, you cannot stay at one place. And that's what Masonry teaches, that's what Sikhism teaches. They say that in order to be, I guess, have a form of education, you also have to travel. Because many in the West, they let books, TV shows, video games, etc. define a person, place, or thing for them. But you never really understand, and you never really get to see what the world is really like and how it works unless you make the effort to go on that journey. And I myself have recently traveled to 2 countries, and I can relate to that, and it shows you that the world is indeed a beautiful place. Life is short. We don't know when our time is up, but we should not waste that time not being able to explore this beautiful world that has been left for us, and how everywhere we go we can leave messages of love, peace, and unity. And that's what inspired me about Baba Guru Nanak and the beautiful Sikh community and what they offer to the people wherever they go. Baba Guru Nanak also teaches us that just enjoy life, don't take life too seriously. And this is one of his quotes where he says, "Death would not be called bad, O people, if one knew how to truly die." And that's how we have the memento mori in Freemasonry, where it teaches us that the mortal man should just take things one day at a time, knowing that our train could come to a stop any minute, and to use that time wisely that we have been given to love and respect all the people in our lives, and to make things right with everybody, and to always do what's right, even if you have to stand alone in that regard. So what Baba Nanak is teaching us that is, people always are scared of death, but it's the immortality of the soul, and that belief that Sikhism and Freemasonry are teaching you, that your journey is going to continue one way or the other, even if your physical vessel that your soul is occupying, even if that one day expires, that keeps going. So do you know how to live, or do you know how to die? So that's what Baba Guru Nanak teaches us, is that just enjoy life, take it one day at a time. Even if you believe that your actions and your activism or whatever you do in life won't make a difference in the grand scheme of things, just know that it makes the difference in the lives of those who are with you, whether it's your loved ones or your friends. As long as your actions make a difference in their lives, then you made a difference, even if it's one person minimum. And that's the beauty that I believe, that common bond that we shared, and why we should not fear any continuation that occurs in our lifetimes, and know that this journey always continues somehow, some way, even if we cannot physically perceive that with our current mindset and our current vessels that we occupy. Baba Guru Nanak always preached the singularity of humanity, and that's in correlation with Freemasonry. What Brother Manly Palmer Hall teaches us is that, the narrow mind is not a place for the one great big work, and that the true Mason, he bows before every altar and worships at every shrine. And I can relate to that, because even in my youth, as a Muslim, I went to Quran classes, Bible classes, Sikh temples. I had love for everybody, and that's what I was trying to teach even others in my culture, and to teach others living in the West and growing up in the West, that just because, okay, this person wears a turban and a beard does not mean that they hate you or that they're against you. And they have one of the most peaceful religions in the world. And the teachings of Baba Guru Nanak exemplify that God is one, no matter what you believe, whatever name that you call the Creator, that we're all walking each other home. If somebody's taken A road, B road, C road, D road, and they're all meeting at the same direction, then why should we hate one another? That gives us the idea to be more united than ever. And that's what Baba Guru Nanak is exemplifying, in correlation with what Freemasons believe. And service to mankind is service to God, living your life in service to others. Honesty is the path of life. God believes that all are equal, meaning in the Masonic terms, on the level, irrespective of caste, creed, age, or sex. One must have compassion for all living beings. Live simple and do good deeds, the rest will fall in place. And that's how I believe life should be. Just do good unto all, and have a life where you do good for others without expecting anything in return. Because if you do good for somebody and then you keep reminding them, hey, you remember I did that for you, I did that for you, I did that for you, then that in the spiritual realm, that takes away your reward. Like you never really did something for them, because you let your ego get the best of you, because you wanted to have some kind of reward for helping them. So if you want to help somebody, and what Masonry and Sikhism and Baba Guru Nanak is teaching us is that do it in a way where your heart is always light. And that's what they mean by, always travel light. Keep your heart as light as possible in terms of how you're moving forward. Because there are ancient stories where tell you that your heart's going to be weighed on a scale and it has to be light as a feather. And how is it going to be light if we can't let go of our own pettiness amongst each other as humanity, where we're always criticizing each other based on ego, race, religion, etc. We always want to find some reason to criticize our fellow man rather than come together, uplift humanity, and leave a better world behind for future generations, just how our forefathers left it for us. We owe that to the future generations as well. And I'm really humbled to learn about Baba Guru Nanak and the Sikh faith, and I'm honored that I have a chance to talk about them and teach the world about them. And I would encourage you all, if you have a local Sikh temple in your area, this is me as a Muslim telling you, is that you should go and spend time with them and get to learn about them. Same thing with a mosque, same thing with a church. The only way that we're going to succeed in the future is if we get involved as communities, and if we all come together. And if we're not going to be the shepherds of our communities, and we're not being involved in the community, then no matter what you are, what you're involved in, whatever organization you're with, eventually they will become obsolete in the future, unless you choose to be involved with your community and start living in their hearts and minds as we should be. So you have to take the initiative into your own hands, and don't wait for somebody to give you the nod or the approval. There's a reason you have your own free will to do what's right always. Baba Guru Nanak exemplified that we're all children of God, and we're all one human family, and we should not fall into that trap of labels and images and identities. It's important that you become a human being first, and you treat everybody with love and respect in regards to uplifting fallen humanity. And that's one of his quotes that I would like to share is, before becoming a Muslim, a Sikh, a Hindu, or Christian, let's become a human first. And that's what I try to teach people, is that everybody falls into that ego trap of, okay, if you don't believe what I believe, you're condemned to hell. And they just have like this grin on their face, like something about them that they have that I don't have makes them better than me. And I believe that attitude should be, in order to uplift fallen humanity, that's one major thing that needs to be tackled, where everybody has their own interpretation on how they want to handle things. And you even have that within faiths. Like, one faith might have so many sects because everybody wants to interpret things in their own way. While if you really read the scriptures of all of the holy books, they don't tell you to make sects. They just tell you to love one another, respect one another, follow the commandments of God, and do what's right always. And I think that's where man's imperfection gets the best of us, where we're always designed to be in this spiritual warfare amongst one another and with other things. But the solution to that is what Masonry teaches, and what Sikhism and Baba Guru Nanak is teaching us, is that first learn how to be a human. When you first see somebody, don't look at them through the eyes that you have been programmed with, such as appearance, skin, race, religion, gender, etc. Try to sit down with them and get to learn about them. And you'd be surprised, you might have more in common with the person next to you than you ever realized, and you might be best friends. And that's what you see, is even if you get on your local train or bus, you see that you have people of all backgrounds, races, religions. They're all going to work. They all have the same hopes and dreams like you do for their self, for their families, for their children. They all bleed the same. So why should we let these agents of chaos that exist in every race, religion, and group, who come out with their agendas, whether on TV or movies or wherever venue you might find them on, that they try to cause disunity or try to cause hate between you and your fellow man? And, the thing is that what Baba Nanak and Sikhism is teaching us is that anything that causes disunity is ungodly. And that's a trap, no matter how sugar-coated or sweet it might sound. So always follow the correct way, which is become a human first, and to show love to your fellow man and uplift fallen humanity and be in service to others. And it doesn't cost you anything to do that. And if you could do that, then these labels, your wealth, your health, your home, your cars, your bank accounts, everything gets left behind. And the greatest wealth that you can take with you into the next stage of this immortality is going to be your heart, which is going to be light as a feather. And that helps you ascend higher into whatever role that you're meant to play in this dream world that we find ourselves in, playing our scripts. Here's a list of facts that I would like to go over for Baba Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and him being the first Sikh Guru out of a group of 10, and how his values and his social activism are still being championed today by his followers and those who believe in him. Now, the first one being that he promoted the oneness of mankind, and he's also quoted as saying that you have to recognize the Lord's light within all. He's telling you that if I have the love of God within me and that other person does, then what gives you the right to hate them? And we should not laugh anybody off or to put anybody down, because there is a spiritual price to pay for all of our actions in this life. And you can even find that in the teachings of Masonry. All men are equal in the Holy Bible, where it says in the book of Luke that the kingdom of heaven is within us. And also in Surah 50 of the Holy Quran, where it teaches us that Almighty God is closer to us than our jugular vein. Now, the second fact of him, that he's one of the most traveled people in history. He's teaching you to be a traveler, to go around and to champion the rights of humanity wherever you possibly can, to spread your light wherever you can. And you can't do that by staying in one place for your whole life. And he's telling you to go and travel. Even if you're in a place where you can't afford to travel, you can go to other cities in your country and champion those values that way. But you have to travel, and you have to go and spread your love. And we see that even with Sikh groups that go to war-torn regions and serve meals and give humanitarian aid to the shelters in Syria and all the other places that we have seen. And even in their Gurdwara temples all over the world, they serve food, and everybody's welcome. They will not ask you who you are if you're a member of their temple, or ask you for money. They won't ask you for anything. And if you arrive hungry and asking for aid, they will not turn you away. And I want them to be recognized for that, for them being travelers and good-hearted, godly people. Same how what Freemasonry teaches us, for those who actually follow its true teachings and are not Masons by name only. So we have to keep that in mind also. So Baba Guru Nanak also championed gender equality, and at that time, it's even in the 14th century, he was championing gender equality and trying to teach everybody that we're all equal, because a man comes from a woman, and we have to respect them because there are mothers, there are daughters, there are sisters, there are wives. We have a lot of relations with them. And you have these agendas and movements by the agents of chaos, such as MGTOW and all this other stuff that has popped up in the West, to destroy that relationship with the man and the woman that has already been destroyed, but they want to destroy it more. So we can't fall into those traps. We have to be willing to work with one another in whatever way possible. And that's what he's teaching us in that regard. The fourth fact being is what I really love, because it ties what Baba Guru Nanak is teaching us, is that the meaning of God and the interpretation of the Almighty Creator is different names in different cultures. And that's what Manly Palmer Hall taught us through his Masonic teachings, and what Freemasonry teaches us is that we're all walking each other home. No matter what road you're taking home, we're all brothers and sisters in the spiritual path, and we're walking each other home, and we owe it to each other to respect one another and not have that mentality, oh, if they don't believe what I believe, or if they don't accept my Savior, then they're condemned to hell. You don't know who that person is behind the flesh. You don't know what their rank is in the spirit world, and you cannot judge or condemn anybody. Who knows that the person you might walk by wearing average clothes and just sitting on the floor might be one of the greatest people that's out here in terms of the spirit realm and his mission that he was sent here to do. You just don't know, and you can't judge anybody. And that's what Baba is teaching us, and also ties into what Brother Palmer Hall said, is that narrow minds do not have a place in the one great big work. And the one great big work is us bringing humanity together in a global connection. So even at that time, before Masonry even existed, these values were being preached by Baba Guru Nanak. And he also invented a langar. Now langar is what they do is, like, anybody that's in need, and they have a food table and food that gets spread out on the floor. So if you go to any Gurdwara temple or the regions of Punjab in Pakistan and India, you will see how they give back to their communities by having langar halls. And you are welcome there to come and ask for aid and assistance and food if necessary, and no one will refuse you, because they owe that to you as their fellow man. And that's what I believe Freemasonry can learn from in terms of giving back to the community. Is there's not enough community outreach happening today, and for Masonic organizations to ensure their survival into the post-2020, post-2030, 40, 50, and beyond, they have to ensure that they become a part of their communities and not just circulate the monies within Masonic charities. You have to get involved in your communities, set a table up at your local high school, college, tell people who you are, how you can be involved with them, and how you can help them if they're lacking anything in their life. You can go around, talk to teachers, whoever needs funding for their classrooms. There's plenty of them. And imagine if that teacher is saying, oh, it was, the Sikhs or the Muslims or the Freemasons that funded us. I mean, wouldn't their perception change about you? And if you're choosing not to take any action, then you have to bear the burden of how people view you. So what Baba Guru Nanak is teaching us is that him inventing langar doesn't mean that he was just going to stand around and not do anything about anything. He made the initiative to invent something that would give back to the community. And to this very day, you could go to any Sikh temple all over the world, and once or twice a day, they will serve meals to those who need it, without expecting anything in return, or they won't ask you if you're a member of their temple, or ask money from you, or anything of that sort. And that's true humanity. We can learn from them, and we can exemplify their values within our own faiths and groups and religions and whatever have you. This is one of my favorite quotes from Baba Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and he says that as reflection is within the mirror, so does your Lord abide within you. Why search for him without? So he's basically telling you that Almighty God and the love he espouses for us all is within you. This is what he's teaching. This is what Freemasonry teaches us, that how we're in a system of self-improvement for us to ascend higher on a different level in our path of immortality as our soul goes from one life to another, and how the book of Luke in the Holy Bible tells us that the kingdom of heaven is within. Surah 50 of the Holy Quran tells us that Almighty God is closer to us than our jugular vein. Then why search for God outside of you? Most of our answers are within ourselves, and you know that throughout your life, whenever you had an epiphany about something, it was within you the whole time. And it's just like how when Neo goes to the Oracle, she never really gives him any advice or tells him anything. She always points to that sign behind her door that says, know thyself. And that's what Baba Nanak is teaching, exemplifies with what Sufism teaches in my faith. And also, what our Masonic teachings teach us is that you have to know who you are, what you stand, what you're capable of, to keep chipping away at that rough ashlar, and to become a better person, and realize that, okay, yeah, this world might be imperfect, people are imperfect, but how are you improving yourself, and how are you getting yourself closer to the Almighty through your actions? Are you making a list that's helping you knock off bad habits every day? Are you making a routine where you wake up, okay, this is what I'm going to get done today, and this is how I'm going to be better today than I was yesterday? Do you like meditate at night before you go to sleep and think, this is what I could have done better today, this is what I could have said better, this is what I should have kept quiet on, and etc. and etc. So that oneness, to become one and singularity with the Creator, Baba Nanak is basically teaching us that it's all within you. You don't need anybody's validation or recognition to make that happen for you. And that's another thing where he's teaching us the oneness of mankind. We, I speak for myself. I'm not representing anybody. And I would say that the concept that they have here in America, where there are still certain states where they don't recognize their African American brothers, I think that's appalling, and it goes against the teachings of Freemasonry. And not just the teachings of Freemasonry, but any faith you look at, mankind are brothers and sisters. What exact term or terminology or stance you can provide that says that justifies what you're doing? It doesn't. And we have to be an example to speak out against anything that goes against dividing mankind, whether it's in Masonic organizations, whether it's outside of it, whether it's in religious organizations where every race has their own separate church. Shouldn't be like that. Everybody should be welcome with everybody. And the sooner we learn that and exemplify what Baba is teaching us, then I think, we can head towards a better path. And even I, as a Sufi Muslim, can acknowledge, Baba's teachings, even him being of a different faith. And that's what should unite us in our quest, because that's who we are, and we cannot let ourselves stoop any lower than that, because then we fall into the lower nature. And by lower nature, then that means humanity will always stay fallen. You can't stay fallen, you have to ascend higher, and we owe that to each other. This made me smile because as a Sufi Muslim wanted to dedicate a video to Sikhism and their similarities with Baba Nanak's teaching in Freemasonry, because I wanted to see my Sikh brothers represented. I didn't see anything out there that had any videos or articles based on Sikhism and Freemasonry, and I wanted them to be represented. And this made me laugh that things really do come full circle when I read this quote by Baba Nanak, who of the Sikh faith says that, let God's grace be the mosque and devotion the prayer mat, and let the Quran be the good conduct. So if I, as a Muslim, am trying to teach the world about his faith, and to tell people that you should not target Sikhs because they look like Muslims, and that they're the most peaceful people in the world, and that doesn't give you a right to target both groups, because both majority of the world's population, they just want to be left alone in peace, and they're just trying to provide for their families and earn a living just like you are. So I was honored. I saw this quote by Baba Nanak where he respected and he showed love for my faith, and I'm glad that I had the honor to do the same for him. And we owe that to each other. I will keep repeating that and stressing that over and over again, because why? I know that we all have a spiritual price to pay. And if we don't do what's right, then what is any of this for? When you sit down in your religious gatherings or fraternal gatherings, if it's not making a difference in your life or in the lives of your community, then sit down and ask yourself, what is any of this for? And what can I do to take the initiative in my hand and make things better? And I really, really am honored that I had the chance to do this for my Sikh brothers. This is yours truly at the shrine of Baba Guru Nanak in Kartarpur, Pakistan. I had the honor of visiting Baba's shrine this past fall during my visit to see my family. And as you see behind, this is the place where he was supposedly buried. and there's a shrine dedicated to him. Now, according to the folklore of that area and what people believe is that it's like how the Buddha disappeared in his meditation. He was exemplified the same way, that I guess his spiritual vibration got so high and he just ascended to another dimension where he physically had just disappeared before the eyes of the human beings that were perceiving him in that fashion. And that his, I guess his remains turned into flowers and they were distributed amongst the people of all faiths, because he was such a humanitarian and a loving human being that the Muslims claimed him as their own, the Hindus claimed him as their own, the Sikhs claimed him as their own, because he exemplified those true Masonic values of one brotherhood, where wherever he went, he was loved by all. And that should be our goal, is to have a pure heart and to remove the dirt and hate from our hearts and to exemplify what Baba Guru Nanak taught us. And I'm glad that I had the honor to go and ask for his blessings and protection over me. And I also requested him to give me the strength and courage to bring the necessary reforms even within the Masonic Brotherhood. So, I did travel to the East, and I did, get the respect of the elders. So we do have to practice what we preach, and if not, then it's like you can wear all the badges you want. It doesn't make any difference. So I encourage you all, you have to travel, go see the world, go seek the blessings of the elders, learn about different people, even if they're of a different faith and race than you. It only expands your education, and it will only make you a better person. It's what my faith will teach me, Sufism, what Sikhism will teach us, what Baba Guru Nanak is teaching us, and Sikhi, the word Sikhism, that means to teach in Punjabi. So we have to be the teachers and the shepherds of our communities. We have to stand up and speak out if we see something wrong, and we have to do what's right always. So I appreciate you all for watching this presentation, and again, my love and respect to the Sikh brothers, and my condolences to any of the victims of the hate crimes in the last 20 years that have occurred in any way, because their identity was mistaken with another. Again, I thank you all for watching this video, and it goes to show you that please make the effort to learn about each other and not just making a judgment based on appearance. Sit down. If you're curious about anybody, make the effort to go up and say hello to them, and majority of the time you will get a beautiful response. Go visit the temples, churches, synagogues, mosques. Visit everyone in your community, because that's when you become whole, not just with your fellow man, but with God. And if we do that, I think we can start uplifting the fallen state of humanity, and we can take this world in a better direction and derail the agenda of the agents of chaos, who always want to feed off our fear and negative energy. Thank you all for watching and sharing. If you have any questions, please give me an email in the description below, and I look forward to hearing from you and engaging with you. And I encourage you all that make your own videos and education platforms, and if there's something that you don't like, you take it in your own hands and exemplify it in a better way, because we're all here to learn from each other. I have love for you all, and I pray God blesses all of you and your families and removes whatever sorrows and worries you might have in your heart. So I thank you again always, and take care.